You said that food stamps grift to black people. Okay, can you define grift real quick, just so I could understand that statement?
They pander to, they lean toward,
Define pander.
like specifically targeting a certain demographic.
Okay, give me an idea of what you mean when you say target. What does that mean?
I mean, when you take something that is a talking point of, and this is not all the time, but this is just one example. Take a talking point that a group of people have and make sure that you mention that talking point many times. Make sure that you keep that on the forefront of their mind. You're now pandering to those people because you're trying to get them in that.
Are you saying because Democrats say that low-income Americans should be able to access food stamps, that panders to black people because you think black people are poor? Cook, take it away. Why do you support the man, the myth, the failure? Donald Trump is president.
So yeah, I think that DEI is inherently racist, and I think abortion is wrong.
Okay, DEI, racist, abortion, wrong. So we've actually been talking talking about abortion since we started the stream. So hopefully we're going to try to talk about some other things. So about DEI, let me ask you a quick question. Are you traditionalist in the sense that you think the man should go out and work and the woman should stay at home, cook, clean, and raise the kids?
I think in a perfect world that'd be pretty cool, but I don't think we live in the economy of the world now to sort of support that anymore.
Are you racist?
No.
Well, you just called DEI racist and what you just described as DEI. Right, from like your perception, because like what you, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, et cetera, like to say is that, we need a merit-based economy, and what DEI does is it tells individuals what they should do predicated on their gender or race. Well, I mean, I've just asked you if you think that men and women should do particular things in society predicated on their gender, and you said yes. Right? So that is like a perfect application of your description of DEI, telling people what they should do, not on their merit, but rather on their gender. And you said that DEI was racist and you support it. So that means that you're racist in accordance with your view.
I said I don't support DEI. And
Yes, you do. In accordance with like how DEI is described by people on the right, you do. Because you said that men should go out and work because of their gender. Women should stay at home because of their gender. So what's the difference between this and your conception of how you think DEI is implemented by the left of saying like this person should do this job because they're black or whatnot? Even though that's not necessarily true or how it works, that's how you think it works. And that's what matters for this argument.
I think that you're kind of attaching other people's ideas onto mine. I don't think you gave me a chance to tell you my version of it. You can't say I'm like Charlie Kirk. Never even met Charlie Kirk.
Fair. So how do you define DEI? That's fair.
So I think that diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think it's not important to me to define it because I think we might agree on the definition somewhat. But however, if you disagree with me on the definition at some point, just maybe clarify. You can definitely ask me. But I think I just don't like how in a lot of ideas, there's like a lot of good, but in practice, when it's actually rolled out, doesn't really turn out that way.
Okay, can you give us like a practical application of what you think DEI is? Like, when you say DEI is racist, like, what do you mean? Give us an example.
So what I mean is that a lot of people end up getting positions with the sort of idea of like, we got to give them a helping hand, as if it's inherently saying that we don't have our own skill sets, like out of our own merit, we can't get these jobs if we're in certain groups. So we need a helping hand. I think the idealisms on the left always have some sort of underlying, like privileged, outside looking in sort of viewpoint on people who are affected by, people who DEI is supposed to help.
Like sometimes what you're describing of what you think DEI is true. Sometimes like DEI is essentially giving people a helping hand. Sometimes that's true. Like wheelchair ramps into public buildings. That's a helping hand for disabled people in wheelchairs. Okay, that's not wrong. Like braille on bathroom signs in Costco's. That's DEI. That's giving them a helping hand. That's not wrong. Keyboards were originally designed for blind people. That was giving blind people a helping hand. That's DEI. That's not racist. So, what exactly here about like apparently giving people a helping hand is racist?
What is okay? So let me address that first, and I'm backtrack and ask you another question about what you said. I think the undertones and things make them racist because racism is the idea that you're superior, you and your group are superior due to your genetics and ethnicity and background. And so I think there's a little bit of underhanded compliments or backhanded compliments in these sort of social programs. If you look, all these social programs are headed by mostly white people historically, all the way up until now. There's mostly white people in these, and I will give you that America's majority white. However,
So
there's still a
what
lot
social programs do you think is racist?
can I finish my train of thought real quick?
Of course, I apologize for interrupting you. I just don't think that we're really progressing.
Okay, so what I'm saying is there's always this idea of what racism is. There's always a question, and a lot of people talk about it a bunch of different ways. And I think that racism isn't always loud and proud. I think racism is in like the sort of micro things that we do. I think in DEI, a lot of people try and act as if they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart, but what they really believe in their hearts or their minds, I guess, is that some other people that are not them need a helping hand because they're not good enough in so many ways.
Can you give us an example of one of these helping hands, these social programs that you think are racist?
And so, okay, so let me tell you what I'm talking about. I don't think, for one thing, the wheelchair ramp example is a great example.
No, that's
I don't think that's
an example of DEIA, right?
I don't think. Well, you try to attach the A onto it. I think that most people are not talking about that when we're talking about DEI. I think colloquially, that's not really part of the conversation. I think that.
Sorry. Now I am going to interrupt you, and I'm doing so unapologetically, because I've asked you a question that you haven't answered. You're saying that some social programs are racist. Okay, name a social program that you think is racist.
So defining one program as racist will make you think that I think there's something inherently wrong with the gist of what the definition of that would be. Like if I say, for example, affirmative action, then if you say, okay, getting more, diversity in schools is not racist, I'd say that the idea behind giving someone
please, just name a social program that you think is racist.
Is affirmative action not a social program?
Actually, no, it's not a social program. No, it's because it was banned before Trump's second administration started. So no, it's not a social program.
You give me an example of a current social program.
Okay. Food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, Section 8, the VA program, like down payment assistant programs, rent caps, subsidizing food producers. I could go on and on and on. These are social programs.
Okay, so social programs like, let's say, food stamps, I think it incentivizes people not to work. I think most people on food stamps are actually white. However, I think the idea is that they grift towards people of color because they believe, like, on some level, we got to give them help because they're disenfranchised, they're affected by historical wrongdoings in America. But that's really enforcing a victimhood mentality rather than investing into black businesses, rather than investing into black neighborhoods, rather than investing into these marginalized communities. They try to give you a handout. But the saying goes, teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. And I think a lot of times when the voting kind of comes into question, there are big elections like presidential or elections for the state, like the governor, they always remind you on the left about how they give out food stamps and they say, hey, they're trying to take your food stamps away. Most times policies never explicitly state, hey, we're going to end all of this. They always say, hey, here's the conditions. We're going to update these conditions on, how you get these social programs, Section 8 food stamps. And as a person who's bear witness to this firsthand, who's lived with these social programs, I've been on food stamps. I've been around Section 8.
Pal, I'm going to be honest, you're fucking yapping, dude.
I don't think I'm yapping. I'm giving you some personal experience. I don't think you can relate to my experience, so it's hard for you to understand. Have you ever been on a social program before?
I have.
You have? Which one?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Why?
Because it's personal information.
Okay. So I told you some personal information of mine. I told you I've been on food stamps before. And I'm telling you that I believe that they try and use food stamps to say, hey, we give you this, therefore you ought to vote for me. They always grift to black people. They always grift to people of color. with all these social programs instead of actually investing
Okay.
into people.
So here's what we know so far. You think that food stamps incentivize people to remain unemployed, and you think that talking about the historical and like modern day systemic oppression of black individuals that enforces a victimhood mentality. And C, you think that food stamps grift to black people. So in response to A, that food stamps incentivize people to not work, you literally have to work in order to claim food stamps. Wrong. Throw that one out the window.
Work?
Yes, USDA federal food stamps include a work requirement. Now, B, saying that the discussion of the fact of historical and current day oppression of black individuals in America enforces a victim mentality. Well, all that you're saying is that if it is true that black individuals have been historically oppressed, then black individuals are victims of oppression. Yeah. Duh. Right? And then in response to your third point, saying that food stamps grift to black people, I'm not even so sure what you mean by that statement. So if you want to kind of give us a little bit of an explanation of what you mean when you say that food stamps grift to black people, that would be great.
So let me address what you said first. When you said you have to work to be on food stamps, you're not incentivized to get a higher paying job or education on food stamps because you literally just have to kind of just say, hey, I'm trying. You can put in job applications, not have a job, and still get food stamps because I've been in that situation. Not me personally, but my parents. Yeah, I've been in that situation. So I know you don't have to be employed. You have to be seeking employment. There's also state laws.
So what you just said is not true about federal food stamps as chartered through the USDA. You have to be employed. You have to meet a particular work requirement in order to receive federal benefits. Now about like state benefits, I'm sure that it's different, and I'm sure that it varies by state. Now we're talking about federal food stamps.
Okay, what are those requirements? Federal food stamps?
I could pull them up if you want me to.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand how this is relevant to your original claim that food stamps are racist, but I'll do it nonetheless.
I said DEI.
Oh,
is
yeah,
inherent.
yeah, even better. I don't even understand how this is relevant to your first point when you said that DEI is racist.
So what's the word inherently mean?
Intrinsically, like innate to. It's always the case that like if
Right.
X then Y.
By its nature, right?
By its nature. Okay.
So do you agree that the
So
Americans?
it looks like the vague work requirements for food stamps are that you have to work 80 hours a month. Now there is you could also work in like qualified work programs. And there's like exemptions, like people over a certain age, disabilities, etc., under a certain age. And there's like a vague gist of the work requirements for federal food stamps. But now I want to go back to a very specific claim that you made. You said that food stamps grift to black people. Okay, can you define grift real quick, just so I could understand that statement?
They pander to. They lean toward.
Define pander?
Like specifically targeting a certain demographic.
Okay, give me an idea of what you mean when you say target. What does that mean?
Well, when you take an idea, or excuse me, when you take something that is a talking point of, and this is not all the time, but this is just one example. Take a talking point that a group of people have and make sure that you mention that talking point many times. Make sure that you keep that on the forefront of their mind. You're now pandering to those people because you're trying to get them in that.
Are you saying because Democrats say that low-income Americans should be able to access food stamps, that panders to black people because you think black people are poor? Like, that's the best understanding of the argument that I could take away? Like, I've never seen a Democrat go on stage and say, hey, black people, we want to give you food stamps. I've never heard a Democrat say that in my life. You know, what I have heard Democrats say is, you know, low-income Americans deserve access to these benefits right now. And you're saying that's pandering and targeting black people? So are you saying all black people are poor?
In their right mind. No one in their right mind is going to get up on stage and blatantly say something racist. Lots of people say things that are not understood.
I'm just going to ignore you calling that racist. I just want to know what you mean when you say that Democrats target black people and they advocate for social safety nets for low-income Americans.
So when you were
And people do get up on stage and say blatantly racist shit. For example, Trump. Now,
Okay.
I want you to be able to address this. How do Democrats advocating for social safety nets for low-income Americans target black people?
Because what would be better than giving people handouts would be trying to incentivize them to start businesses.
No, you're not answering my question. Saying that incentivizing people to start businesses is smarter than food stamps is not asking my question on how the fuck are Democrats pandering to black people when they say that low-income Americans should be able to access food stamps. You're not answering my question. Try again.
When you were talking about the requirements for federal food stamps, let me ask you, and this is relevant to your question, so that's why I'm asking.
I don't see any relevance yet, but I'll let you continue.
Well, thank you. So, what about people who are unemployed with children?
Okay.
Do they
not relevant at all. Thank you.
I think it's relevant because there are a lot of single black mothers in the black community that have multiple children and are not employed and are receiving benefits. And they pretty much say, hey, that's how you feed your kids. But what it looks like is from a personal level, when you actually are sitting there staring it in the face, you see a lot of people just having kids to keep getting these social programs, these welfare systems handed to them.
Oh, okay. So it's funny because you've been talking about racism since the moment you joined. The only thing racist that has been said yet this stream is you suggesting that low-income black Americans are more likely to exploit the qualifications of social safety nets than low-income white Americans. I can't even believe this. And it wasn't like specifically like black Americans. It was more specifically black women. So in other words, it's not just racist, it's misogynist. You're telling us that you think that low-income black women are more likely to exploit social safety nets than any other group of people in the country. That's racist.
What experience do you have with this, Dean? I came out of a black woman, so how can you tell me?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Even if your mother is a black woman, you have absolutely no fucking right to talk down on all black women. And actually, I would argue that because your mother is a black woman, you should fucking know this.
Dean, what am I supposed to know exactly? Because you don't have the experience of being black to speak on being black at all. So that's one of the things that I kind of don't agree with people on your side with. You don't have the right to tell me what I should know and what I ought to say and do.
Look,
You're not black.
I completely, 110% agree that white individuals are just simply not going to know firsthand what it is like to be black in America. Okay, and I'll acknowledge that I just simply can't know as a white man. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I cannot tell you that you are wrong when you like start talking about how much all black women suck. You like I think that there is confines to what white people can and cannot say about like claims on behalf of black Americans. But I think something that white people can say is that it is like wrong to target, discriminate, and prosecute all black women in America. And if now you're just telling me that like basically you are now rejecting my argument that you are doing something wrong by targeting by targeting all black women in America because I'm white, I mean, this seems to kind of be in contradiction to what you came up here saying. Right? Because this whole time you've been saying that something about how you basically think that all people are equal and we could all just talk about everything. And we shouldn't be giving preferential treatment or treat individuals differently based upon their race. Right? The whole like colorblind claim. Right? And I think that there's a lot of problems with a colorblind claim because that ignores historical oppression, that ignores modern day oppression, because at the end of the day, although everybody in society is equal, society doesn't treat everybody as equal. And we need to be able to talk about that to fix and address it. But like now you're just rejecting my argument that all black women don't suck because I'm white?
So Dean, I don't understand how you can say all that still with the understanding that you don't have any experience in the position of being black. So when I offer you an example of black issues, you now try to throw this whole I'm throwing black women under the bus. I'm telling you firsthand that I see something that's affecting us and I know what the root cause of it is. anyone who's incentivized
Okay.
to do something,
You have the mic
can
connected
abuse
again.
it.
You have the mic connected again. You have to disconnect your
right,
Bluetooth
okay.
device.
Can you give me a minute, 30 seconds then?
Are you driving?
No. I'm at a computer, actually.
Okay. So, I mean, I think where we're at now is like you were making the argument that low-income Black Americans are disproportionately likely to exploit social safety nets, and then I was like, what the fuck? Like that is like an example of like an incredibly like bigoted belief, right? Because you're just like further perpetuating discrimination and prosecution, right, of Black individuals, more specifically Black women, and you're telling me I can't say that because I'm white? Like I'm not sure that I'm tracking. I agree. There's a lot of shit that I can't say because I'm white. 110%. Is that one of them? I don't think so.
Yeah, you had me beat, Dean.
Okay. So are you going to give an argument? He disconnected.